Diving right
Okay.
in. I like
Wonderful.
it.
Kelly, so great to have the opportunity to meet you via Zoom. How are you and how are you holding up?
Thanks, Bonnie. It is so nice to meet you via Zoom as well. And I'm hanging in there, one breath at a time. I think that's all we can do.
That is for sure. Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully we're near to the end now. I hope after 2 years. I mean, I just feel complacent sitting in my house. I don't know about you.
I think the fatigue has definitely set in collectively for us all.
I know. But listen, we have great things to watch, including your film Shapeless. And honestly, I don't know how you got through this one because this was, you produced it, you started it, you co-wrote it, and it was based on your real life experience with an eating disorder. Tell me about, wearing your heart on your sleeve for this film.
Yes. Thank you for validating. I don't know how you got through it. I sometimes really don't know how I got through it either. I will say one step at a time, like one breath at a time. I had this idea 12 years ago when I was in treatment for bulimia, and I had actually experienced losing the ability to sing. I'm a singer growing up, and I was just losing that ability to even hit notes and like breath control. And I couldn't really face that shame at that time, but I had this idea when I was in treatment because at that time I was really seeking something in art because that's where I often looked to for comfort. I would read books, watch movies, experience what others were experiencing through art. And when I looked for something with an eating disorder focus, I just came up kind of dry. The only thing I would find would maybe be like a joke storyline in a movie of like, oh, haha, I'd make a joke about their diet or something. And, or it would be these after school specials. And then they all got better. And I was like, okay, well, thanks, but no thanks. That's not real.
Not reality. Yeah.
Not reality. And so that was the little stem, the little seed of the idea. And years went by and it really didn't start coming into motion until after I had my daughter, Fallon. And that was, she'll be 5 in August. And I really just had this feeling of like, okay, you're not a professional writer. I was an professional actor, and I had you tell yourself those stories, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to write, blah, blah, blah. But I felt called to just get something on paper, do something.
Yeah.
It's not going to be perfect. That, but like, let's just get something tangible. And really, I think my daughter was such an inspiration there because I looked at her and said to myself, I don't want her to struggle the way I did. Right. So maybe there's something here. And in that process of opening up and becoming vulnerable with all the filmmakers and incredible collaborators I got to work with along the way, and that kind of was this process of putting the puzzle pieces together, I would have to have these conversations about what it was really like. What did that feel like? What was that experience? And I would get vulnerable and authentic and honest. And I felt my shame lessen, and as my shame lessened.
Yeah.
By feeling that connection with another human being who said, I understand you, whether it's not that they struggled with an eating disorder, but I think shame and that self-hatred is universal, however it manifests. And for someone to say, I understand you, I think is some of the most profound words a human being can hear.
Oh,
and
for sure.
Me, right. You feel so much less alone. And I felt a little more brave along the way of being vulnerable. And I noticed, for me, I think awareness and normalization is so important for people. And I felt it help me. I felt that exact energy help me. And so that's kind of where Shapeless began. And so I hope when people watch it, it's obviously hard. It can be a hard watch because it's
sure. Well, especially for people, like you say, if you have gone through it. But what I find interesting, Kelly, is that you're no stranger to the horror genre. You've done things before, but you set this kind of in a horror type situation. And when you think about it, somebody who is going through an eating disorder or whatever, mental, anything, it is a horror.
Yep. That came along kind of after those first few iterations of a script that I had when I met Samantha Aldana, I had known her in the New Orleans film community,
Yeah.
really admired her as a director, loved her vision, her just her artistic like tangibility to the way that she really creates these scapes that you're immersed in. And through our developing, it just naturally went into this genre direction. And when we started going there, that's when it really started to fly. And then I started to work with Bryce, the co-writer, who was incredible. And once we kind of played in that sandbox of using those tools, I think it really, really opened up. And I think horror in particular is such an incredible genre for that, for really discussing these things that are complex. You know, it's complicated. It's hard to explain all of the facets of it. And I think horror can really create this sandbox for filmmakers to play and to use symbolism, surrealism, whatever you want to use in a visual medium and sound and however else you do it, to say something.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think, yeah, it really opens it up. There's no question about it. And you said earlier, like when you were experiencing this as a singer, you lost your ability to sing. You have to sing in this movie. And I understand that you had to hook up with a vocal therapist. That's very interesting, even at this point in your life.
Oh, yes. Well, I will. It's funny. This is such a great question. I love this question. So I was so busy in development, sort of like writing it and producing it. And then when it came time to like, okay, now we got to record, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah, I forgot.
Like, who's making me do this? You? All right. Yeah. So Samantha was the one who, I had already known my vocal therapist from the acting community in New Orleans. Her name's Caroline Formey, and she was doing this thing called vocal therapy. And I was like, well, that's what I need. I need therapy. Yeah. And it was this almost like intuitive way of reconnecting to my actual voice, because I came in there with a lot of like, I can't sing, can't do that, can't do this, can't, just like get me to where I can like sort of pretend. And she was like, you can sing, you know, like, okay, and there were a lot of emotional blocks that I really had to work through. And just accept my voice for what it is now and not compare it to what it was when I was 14 before I was really struggling in this. Yeah. And it's become this journey of its own, where the more I started to sing again and just be like, okay, we're just going to love and accept ourselves and not make this perfect. That also helped my shame lessen. And it was because I had cut music out of my life. Like the thing I loved to do the most and was the most natural to me, it was too shameful for me in my experience to sing. I could barely listen to music because I would just try to sing. And it was a dark period of my life. And finding Shapeless, and I love music. I love New Orleans. I love jazz. I love it. And I actually had to go play in that again. And it really opened me back up again to say like, okay, you can sing, you know, yes, we have these limitations of our breath control and this and that. But you can't not sing. Right. So let's just embrace ourselves, but easier said than done.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds to me like this whole experience was one cathartic experience for you.
Yes, very much. And I think that at the root of all of that is vulnerability, is the honesty of it, is the saying I'm scared, or I don't understand this, or this is what this feels like. And constantly going back to that, like, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here. You know, I'm just breathing and I'm trying to figure it out, but I don't have to figure it all out. And I think that's nice about finding really good collaborators in a film experience, is to have those people that can say like, we're going to figure it out together, or that's mine, I'll figure that one out. You stay over here, and we all somehow figure it out together.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You know, you're one busy lady. Like I say, you have your fingers in everything now, with acting, producing, writing. You did wrote a children's book. You sing, everything. What do you want to focus on? Like, what's going to be next?
Oh, great question. I feel like I'm still marinating right now. I've been really with Shapeless, you know, kind of just watching her fly and trying to hold her and guide her as best I can. And the children's book you mentioned, Zoo Crew, I have it right here.
Yeah, it's
I wrote
adorable.
this,
Yeah.
Samantha, thank you. Samantha Aldana, the director, illustrated it.
Yes.
Funnily enough, we did this in the middle of all of the Shapeless stuff. I think it was like, let's do something light and magical. And, you know, but it was a whole other experience that I've had to learn.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I hope that what's in the future for me is more roles, more acting, more, definitely more writing at some point, and maybe some music, but I'm not really sure which one's gonna.
Yeah. Wherever the wind blows, right? Like whatever, you're right. And I have to know, like the best critic is probably your 5-year-old. What did she think of the book?
Yes, she's almost 5. She really loves it. She doesn't, in the front, it says for Fallon, my daughter's name. And when it was so special to finally be able to read it to her. And it was really sweet because at the beginning she said, does every book say for Fallon? And I said,
oh,
that's so sweet. Everyone, every single one. Oh gosh. Yeah. I mean, that's where really so much of being a mom is like the number one thing that, you know, taking care of my mental health so I can be there for her. That's always number one.
Yeah.
But she really loves the book. So thanks for
asking. That's awesome. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for your time today. You were delightful to talk to. Best of luck with everything. And, you know, once everything clears up, come visit me in Toronto and we'll go for a coffee. Okay.
Absolutely. I'm dying to go to Toronto. I'd be honored.
Yeah, well, New Orleans is my absolute favorite city in the entire universe. I've been there a few times. I love it. I can't wait to get back, honestly.
Oh, let me know next time you're back.
I will definitely do that. And so we can have coffee either way, but we'll have to have beignets. You know, that's
100%. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And thanks
nice
for your time.
Bonnie.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.